cute. That was a cute little intro. I haven't really seen them yet. I like them. I'm not very up to date on some of our marketing stuff, so that was fun to watch. Hello.
Hey.
Hi. Hi, I'm Elena. I'm a design team lead at ThoughtBot.
And I'm Mateus. I'm a senior developer.
We're gonna show you a little bit about an open source project called Roux. We're gonna talk a little bit about it and then also implement it.
Cool. I guess you're back to question is let's start talking about what is Roux? What's this name?
Well, I guess I'll talk about the name first. ROUX. I think if you're familiar, if you're cook or if you bake or if you do any of those things, you might be familiar with a roux. It's like a thickening agent that you might use in like soups or gravies or anything like that. But it's like you have flour and then you have like a fat, like a butter or a lard or bacon drippings or anything like that. And it's you can use it across like a bunch of different dishes, but it's like a foundational piece, like ingredient for a lot of different things, which helps it we build off of it. And so I use that because we built a CSS tool that is basically that, less delicious but really foundational, of having some basic CSS architecture and styles to build off of, not to use wholesale as is from the beginning for everything, but to use as like a solid foundation for your CSS.
Cool. That sounds useful and familiar. I guess a lot of people would ask the question, why Roux, or what's the difference between Roux and other tools like, I don't know, Bootstrap or Tailwind? Could you talk a little bit about that?
Good question.
I know you are very, very passionate about Tailwind.
I know I have spicy opinions on it. You can read my blog post, but it's different in that this is not a U library. This is not a component library. This is not a out of the box tool where you install it and apply it and your designing is basically done. Or it's not a set of utility classes. It's foundational styles. I think of it as like a very fancy reset to a lot of the browser styles. It was built out of all these, basics in CSS that I was applying to like literally every project. It was agnostic to all the projects that I was a part of, and I was applying it across the board because a lot of them just target global elements like the header element or labels or inputs or buttons or H1s, stuff like that I was applying that set me up for success to build off of that. But yeah, it's not a component library. It's not a plug and play. It's a what is that beeping noise? Oh my gosh, sorry. My husband left his headphones in here and decided to ping them during this live streams.
Yeah, it happens. That's the beauty of life.
I was like, I specifically said, please do not bother me between 2 and 3 p.m. because I am going to be live streaming. I don't think he realized that they were in my office. Anyways, yeah, so it's not meant to be a plug and play tool. It's not meant to be something that you just add and then you're done. It's meant to kind of just start you off. It also kind of gives you like architecture definitions of like how to set up your files and how you might define some of your classes and how you might set up custom properties, which are sort of like CSS is called to like variables. But yeah, I find it useful for myself. I think, it really kind of depends on what mindset you're going into as a developer, as a designer, whether you really want to get into the weeds with the CSS or if you just want something more plug and play. Roux is probably not for you. But if you really want to like learn a little bit more and build off of something, then I think that this is the tool. We used to have a tool called Bourbon, which was a really helpful set of SAS helpers and functions that we have since deprecated because we don't really need it anymore. Because native CSS does a lot of that work. But we also had a companion to it called Bitters. And Bitters kind of did the same thing that Roux did, where it sort of gave you some definitions for some like really basic setup, which included Bourbon, but also kind of set you up for like CSS architecture and how to adjust your files and build them in a way that was sustainable. And so it's similar to that in a lot of ways, but it's native CSS.
Got it. Would you say that the ideal use case for Roux would be like on a new project, you're just starting out and you have this basic structure and variables that you can just adjust for yourself?
Yeah.
Or
I think I want to make CSS a little less scary and a little less like, oh, I never want to touch this or have to see any of it. I also think like, Tailwind comes with caveats of like you end up with like really long class names unless you're using apply or like a different method of having class names. But the way I see it in practice is like you see like this lengthy list of classes that you're not really, sure exactly how it interacts with the element, but it does the things that you want it to. But this one Roux comes with a little bit of, I guess, like better understanding or greater understanding of what you're building and why it works the way that it does.
cool. Yeah, I think as a developer, CSS can be scary just because it's so open. Like there's no buckets, no nothing to choose from. It feels like it's an infinite list of choices.
Yeah.
So I appreciate Roux in that sense that at least I get some advice like follow this path and this was curated by someone that understands what they're doing, and you don't have to come up with solutions for everything.
Yeah. I think the thing about CSS, at least these days, it's so powerful now. There's so many things that we used to have to rely on JavaScript or other frameworks to do that CSS can just do natively, which is great. There's just so much more flexibility in that. But it also allows, if you are really into CSS, but maybe less so into JavaScript, it allows you a little bit more creative license to do animations, to do interesting things with like drop downs or whatever, just by virtue of using CSS and HTML.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, yes, Roux sounds delicious. So what are you going to do with it?
Yeah. I think so. Typically, what I've done is I have used it on projects where I'm just like blank slate, let's go into it and have Roux to start off, and then I'm building off of it. But you have a project where you've already built your styles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So this is the website for a local Ruby meetup that we have on my city, and it's just a static HTML and CSS. It's pretty simple. Oh, this is localhost. I promise it exists. And I thought that this was simple enough that we could try with it. And it also, all the styles are in one single file. So it's, I don't know, 300 lines at this point. So it's starting to get annoying to have it all in a single file. So yeah, I felt like this was a good opportunity to improve things.
I will say there's nothing wrong with having your CSS all in one file. That's something you do. But you mentioned it being unmanageable and getting a little bit long. And so I think this will be.
Yeah, just I don't have to scroll that much just to find stuff.
Cool. So show me what it's looking like now, your CSS. Can we take a look?
Sure. So this is the file, and please anyone let us know if the font size is too small for you. But yeah, I do have a couple of variables here. I can't remember if I use all of them consistently, but I
Okay.
hope I do. And then I got a couple of like sort of global
Mhm.
styles.
Nice.
And I think eventually, oh, this looks a little bit more like almost like a component,
Yeah.
like an outdoor thing. But footer, blah blah blah, HR, and eventually I get to some sort
Some
of
button
component like
views.
things. Yeah, there's a button here. This is where is it? There's a fancy button somewhere. Oh, there you go. And it
Ooh,
does
look
the
at
same
that.
thing when you can you
Nice
see
little
that?
hover. That's cute.
Yeah, I was trying to do some CSS. Can't remember how this actually works. It's been a while, but
It
I did
works. It's
it.
all that matters.
Yeah, and a few other things like an event timeline here, circle, blah blah blah. And then for the stuff that I wasn't sure, I just copied a bunch of utility classes from Tailwind and used them.
Oh, okay. So you have some utility classes there.
So yeah, for stuff that I didn't know if they would end up being a component, or I didn't know how to organize better. I just went with utilities,
Are those
and that's
things?
basically it.
Yeah. Are those utility classes ones that you're using like multiple times across the board, or are some of them one-offs, or it kind of just really depends?
I think probably some of them are one-offs. Let's
Hmm.
see. This, yeah, this one is very specific. Just one place.
Yeah.
Uh, but probably some of the let's try. Yeah, so block or flex probably are the ones that
Oh,
are
yeah, for
like
sure.
used on more stuff. I even created this stack one is basically a stack of vertical things.
Yeah.
Probably used to be a bunch of utility classes repeated. So yeah, I was kind of starting with utilities on some places and then building components out of it as I
Okay.
saw the duplication. And that's it. That's what I got.
Cool. Love it.
So what would be our plan here? I guess we have to install Roux. That's probably the first step.
Yeah, let's take a look at Roux and take a look at some of the structure that's sort of in place already there. If you scroll down a little bit, you can see just like a little tree somewhere. There we go. You want to zoom in a little bit?
A little more.
Fur has come in and said, "I'd love to use it, but I don't know how to pronounce it."
Oh, that's
Roux,
very
like
important.
you. Thanks, Fur.
Is that French?
I don't know. I'm so used to
So
pronouncing it.
so we
Okay,
have
so we have some normalized. So this is, if you just go to like normalize.css, it's just pulled in from that. That's a browser reset.
perfect.
I think there's like a website that's normalized CSS. Some people use reset and some people use normalize. I choose normalize. I can't remember the reasons why, but it's just a bunch of browser resets. So a lot of your elements appear similarly across different browsers. Makes it a little bit easier to work with. I mentioned that you can
Yeah.
kind of think of this as a fancy reset. So it's like building off of normalized reset in a way and just, with some more opinions.
Let's see if I can find it. There you go.
Yeah.
And so just literally just copied from there.
Yeah, I think, some people include it as a package that they import it, but because it's so infrequently updated,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
throw it in
probably
there.
just easier to just copy.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily like you don't need to add in craft if you don't, if it's not necessary. So that's that. And then we have base. This is where we're going to be working in. base targets, for the most part, a lot of your global elements. And so there's a couple that go into class names, but most of them are just targeting elements. And so disclosures, for example, if you want to bring up that in the base file, that's going to target the details and summary elements. To give it a little bit of structure. We have a display flex on it, on the details, so you can kind of like have, some spacing between. So detail summary is like the little thing that where you have like an FAQ box, like what about this, and it has a little caret, and it can open up into a drop down where it answers your question. So we have a little bit of structure to this that is more layout structure of adding in some flex, adding in a custom caret. I think that's it for that. Things like forms, lists, tables, all of them just have some structure and some very slight style to them. But things that you can build off of or change if you want to.
So this is not meant for us to use the styles as they come necessarily. It's just like just
I think
you would.
I would say if you were to just build a site and not add to any of these styles, you would end up with like a pretty, not boring, but very like brutalist-ish, or just not like super compelling site. That said, I am all for minimalism and simplicity, but it's a good baseline to work off of. And so for example, the disclosures CSS file, you might want to kind of keep that as the default for any kind of disclosure, like drop down element that you have in there, but maybe you have a fancier one for your FAQs. Maybe you have a fancier one for a particular use case in your website or your app that you're using it for, but you want to make sure that you just have like that basic one as like the default for things. For example, modals, a couple of options there, and you might build fancier modals, but this is like a solid default for you.
And those custom ones, like those specific use cases, could be on the components folder.
Yep.
For example.
Yeah, they could be in the components, or if you're like, what, I want all of my detail summary items to be fancy, or they all should operate the same. I would say then if that's the case, then it might make sense to just target the element itself instead of making a special class name, because if you're not going to have any variations on it, or you're not going to have any sort of distinction between like a regular one versus a fancier one, then it makes sense to target the element. And then you can just go into that base folder and do that there.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there are also things in here that you might not even use or need, which comes with any framework or package. You're not necessarily using everything that might come with it, and that's totally fine. You can remove them. You can just have them there if you want them later. Say you're not like, it doesn't seem like you have any tables in your site, and so you might not use make use of the CSS for the tables. So, but that's fine. You can leave it or take it.
Yeah, that's the beauty of just copying it. Like you take whatever it works for you. You don't have to keep it the other stuff.
Exactly. But yeah, I think that's in there. I think there's a utilities folder too that really has only one utility, because we're building a few out a few more, but for right now, it's just hide visually, which allows you to like visually hide an element but still have it be accessible by screen reader. And then there is a way to a class you can also add if you want it to appear if you tab to focus. And so the use case for that is a skip to main content link. So a lot of websites and have up in the header, they have a hidden button that allows screen reader or anyone that's tabbing around to skip to the main content. That'll drive you down to like an in-page anchor link to like the main content if you want to skip past some of the nav or any of the stuff at the top. And so that's a good use case for that if you want to have something that's hidden visually, but also you can add another class to focus it or show it when it is in focus.
Good. And I think there was a demo somewhere.
Yeah, right now one of our hackathons is building a better demo site, but right now it's just in CodePen. But you have all the pieces here, and you can kind of
And you
play
can see
around.
like what's doing the default styles. There's
Yep.
a table.
So you can see like the default stylings. It's not that exciting, but it does its job.
Yeah, it's almost like sometimes you just need something to make like plain HTML look better, and it's just a drop in. I love this custom range thing. Cool.
Yeah.
I guess it's time now. It's time for
Let's
the
do it.
action.
I'm ready.
So this is something new, right? You usually started with a new project and then you started with Roux, but now we have something that already exists and we'll have to
retrofit a little bit, but I think that can be fun. Well, we should do it.
I know that there's an installation script. So basically this will copy the styles onto my project.
Yeah, it'll copy it into a CSS folder. So you might need to like move it to a different folder.
Okay.
It seems like you have stuff in styles, but you can use that.
No, what I do? I'll do it here.
Okay.
I'll do it here. Let's see. Fingers crossed this works. You know how light coding is. I'll add it to here. And what I'll do is this, I'll call this old styles.
Perfect.
Just this will be the new styles.
Okay. Great.
And I used to have index.css, which was my entry point. So I guess I'll rename this to index as well. So it keeps working.
That works. And then what I would do is, I think probably the easiest way of doing this is go into your old styles and index.css, copy all of that, throw it underneath all of our stuff, and then we'll rearrange a little bit.
Just copy all of this and put it here.
Copy it all and then put it underneath there.
Ooh. Let's see what happens.
I know. I'm assuming we're going to probably break some things here. I also will get back to that syntax highlighting stuff in just a second. But
let's see if what happens. We build. Oh, it's working. Done.
Doesn't look that different.
It looks like it's not different.
Sweet.
Cool. Let's try a different page just to sure, but it looks really similar. Maybe I overrule the current styles, overread everything.
Yeah, I think like you might have like, because you do have some global, like you're targeting some global elements and stuff like that, so we can get to.
Oh, but at least it didn't break anything.
Yeah, you have some syntax highlighting CSS. Is that stuff that you have created, or is that from like another package? Your syntax highlighting CSS.
I don't know. Maybe I have some extension here. I don't know. I have possibly one of those.
I meant in the old styles folder, there is syntax highlighting.css. I was curious.
I see what you mean. This file. No, I'm not using this one.
Okay. Just wanted to be sure. So sometimes I have projects where I have to, like, I'm including a component that I don't have full control over. So for example, like including, like I was on a project where we had to include Google search, and a lot of my styling was like literally trying to override some of those pieces. And so I added a additional folder called third party, where I put all the styles in to kind of keep things a little bit separated out, and I could easily find where my Google search tool overriding styles were.
That's a good
Third party thing.
We might need to add that to readme because that's probably a very common use case. Like for it, maybe not Google search, but maybe like a custom drop down library or like like those fancy select libraries or calendars, like those often need to.
For sure, yeah, I know it's annoying to have to do it, but everyone has to do it at some point. You're including some kind of other library, and then you only have a certain amount of control of the style. So, all right, and sometimes important to the rescue.
Right.
Cool. Okay, so I think we can start with your custom properties here. So it looks like you have like some mostly colors and then just a font size, which was great. Cool.
Yeah.
I think we can reduce some of these too.
Okay, so what will be your approach here?
Yeah, I think, why don't you copy over that root, just like that whole block. Cool. And then, we're currently in base/variables.css. You can make another root below it. So you can have multiple roots. You can use as many roots as you want. So we have a few there. Great. So I think we can just move some of these in here. And so you have one called primary color. And so maybe one thing I like to do, and this, as always with this project, you like whatever kind of syntax or style you want to go with is totally fine. These are just recommendations, guidelines, if you will. You can ignore them. For colors especially, and then for other things, I like to use tokening systems. So we have a primitive, and that primitive might be, so what is that color? D300? Is that that like reddish?
Yeah, it's probably some kind of red.
Okay.
Like I would guess that this is this one, like the link red.
Cool. So I would say go all the way to the top to the other root, and then we're gonna say in color red.
Right.
Maybe the 500 if there's like a lighter and a darker. Yeah.
I think it was this.
Yeah.
There's a darker and lighter.
Those. Let's replace those.
Where was it? So this was what I had. So this is the dark. Oh, it almost looks like I prepared this exactly.
I know. Crazy. And then I think in the primary base dark and light, instead of, I think we have it as blue right now, you can just replace that with red. Sweet. So what this allows us to do, this way of doing it, this like token, you might have heard of like design tokens or design, within design systems, is it allows us to be a little bit more flexible when we apply certain styles to things. And so if I decide randomly that I've changed my branding and my primary color is now green instead of red, and I've changed that whole thing. I just have to change out those custom properties of color base dark and light to green instead of red, and then it'll change across the site instead of me having to go through and adjust like what that primary color is. And I think a lot of frameworks do this too. Like, I think Tailwind does this. You can set up like your primary, secondary, and tertiary colors and adjust this. But if you're doing it with need a CSS like this. This is, I found a great way of just setting things up. And it also allows you, if you're working with other developers or designers, to know what colors you have at your disposal here of like, is it a red, or is the primary red or a blue? I won't know until I go into the app and see it. Like, you know, I don't necessarily know the hex colors, or if I don't have like an extension on my IDE that's showing me what that color is, I wouldn't know.
Cool. And also, this is useful for theming. Like, we have only light theme in this app, but if we had dark, we could change stuff a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Changing variables instead of
Yep.
Very specific styles.
Exactly. Yeah, it makes it a little bit easier. But yeah, I think unfortunately, in this case, I think we might have to change out our what we've called primary color. So we'll have to find where we have primary color and change it out to that new custom property. You could still use primary color dark, primary color lighter if you didn't want to have to change things out across your code base.
Now what I think I will. Let me just ignore the old styles.
Okay.
So it doesn't show up twice.
Yeah. Sounds good.
So aside from variables, I used it in that index file a couple of times. So I'll just, whenever it's primary color like this, I'll replace it with the new variable, basically. And we'll do the same for primary lighter. Is that the right variable name?
I think it's just primary light.
Okay. So let me replace this. The new one. If this is a common problem, we could probably create some kind of tool that does the replacing for us, like the mapping of the new variable names.
Yeah, I like that idea.
And I think that's it.
Cool.
Now this can go away.
Nice. Should we check and see if that's still appearing as expected?
Ooh, yeah. Ooh. Something happened.
Nothing happened. Where'd the background go?
Ooh, I don't know.
That one was the lighter one, I think.
Yeah. Maybe I mistyped something. Where is that going? Is that on the body? Yeah. So the body has a background color. That body background. Okay, that variable is not defined.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's go. Okay, so we have, this is great. So this is where it gets even further. So let's talk about that a little bit. So we have our tokens, we have our primitives, and then we have our more semantic like ranking of like primary and secondary and tertiary colors, or an accent color. And then you can get even further and have more definitive like names like background color, or like background base, or hover color, or button base, or, you know, like things that like define a particular element or pattern you have. You can get even sort of deeper into abstracting out that initial red color. So we probably want to go in, yeah, that if you go body background is primary color lighter. And so
is that correct? I think I think I didn't change this name, so that's why.
Yeah. So let's use that as background base down there. It says color background base at the top there.
Color? Do you mean changing the variable name, or do you mean?
No, like, so go up back to the that first root where we had sort of the Roux styles. Scroll a little bit down, and there's
there you go.
Color, yeah. So if we wanted to use that as, so we'll abstract that out even more. Instead of saying red, maybe we want to say it's always going to be primary light. And so this is going to be, and then we might need to change out that variable name.
So wherever it used to be body background, we'll use now background base.
Yep.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
We're back on track.
Sweet.
Still something's missing. Or making progress.
We're making progress. Things are happening.
So I can delete this one as well.
Yeah.
So now it's mostly a matter of playing this game, like finding the old
ones. Like you said, maybe there's a tool you can build to like make that a little bit easier to change out the variable names, or you can just say, I'm not going to change out my variable names, but I'm going to kind of like maybe finesse the pattern that I've built for how I'm naming things. I think especially with a small site like this, like you really don't have to get too complex about it, because it is easy to use. I think those foundations are really great for starting off from scratch and you just want something there, or if you have a really complex site where you want to sort of build up. Like I was on a client project where they had, I want to say like 12 to 15 different brand colors that all had tonal ranges. And so having those like primitive colors and then where they fit into like more semantic colors was really helpful for me and the other developers to know what we're working with, and also to be able to change things out on the fly, which we had to do a few times. So
yeah, and that's also useful when you don't have a designer. So if you have this structure, it's a lot easier for developers to just follow best practice by default instead of coming up and trying to reinvent the wheel.
Exactly. So yeah, it looks like we have pink letter, we have body color. I think I have like that as like text color or something.
Yeah, those two probably exist.
Yeah. I don't even know if I have secondary text color, so we can add a new custom property here for that.
Okay, so body color here is some kind of shade of dark gray directly. Yeah. So in this case, you would name this color first, and then
I would name that color first, probably.
So this is some kind of gray. I think is that gray? Yeah. I don't know how dark is this gray. I'm gonna say it's this one.
Sure, that's fine. Yeah, and you can remove all of these. Like these are just suggestions to start with. So if you're like, this is like, I don't need any of this stuff, it's fine.
Maybe this is the darkest. So this is black, and this is almost black.
Yeah.
Would you say this is would be gray 50 then?
I would say 900 then. 900, like.
Oh yeah, the darkers are here.
Okay, and then there should be like a color text, maybe.
Text. There
right there. So
this
uses color black instead. Do I have a color? I do have a color black. Maybe you don't want to discern between black and gray. Maybe it'd be good to use color black there. I don't know. Who knows?
I guess it's fine. Let's just use black. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine.
And so black will be this color.
Okay. Perfect. And then you had like a slightly lighter one?
Yes. I think here.
Okay. Yeah.
That's my guess, yes.
Yeah. That makes sense. So we'll call that, I don't know. That could be a gray. I feel like you can get into the weeds with gray versus black and what's
right.
We can go back to color black. Maybe it's 100, and you can use that color that you just made.
So the 100, and I think that was secondary text.
Secondary. Perfect. Okay, and so we have those, and now we have color text, which is all set, And then maybe we do, if you scroll down a little bit more, keep going. Okay. Maybe under, we create a new custom property called color text light. So dash light after that. And that uses color black 100. Okay. Cool. And now we can change out those custom properties that you have named.
What was this again? Secondary text. I'll just replace them with this. And this one goes away. Looks like it's working.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Sweet.
Yeah, so I noticed like I started doing some like more semantic variables, but I just couldn't bother creating variables for all of them.
I know. I feel like I do that too. Like I run out of steam. I'm like in the system. I'm like, I don't care anymore. I'm just going to like write this straight up.
Yeah, so what used to be body color, now it's color text, right?
Mm-hmm.
Take this, replace them. This one goes away.
Right.
It's working.
Cool. Those images are huge.
Yeah, there's something happened to them. We'll see in a minute.
It's okay.
You
had, I noticed if you bring up the actual site, I think there's like a link color, just the main nav. What's going on there? The red and now they're black.
Yeah, they used to be red. Now they're black with a. Oh, let's see.
That might be
color link.
Color link. Okay, so let's go up to our root.
It disappeared. Oh, that was it.
It should be color dash link. Is that?
Is it? Maybe that's it. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. So on the typography, we have color link and.
Great. So we want to do.
Color primary base. That should be.
That should be all set up. So we just need to change out the variable name because I think maybe are you.
Oh yeah, I'm just not using it. Cool. So what was I'm using? Action color? Maybe that's it.
Sweet. Looks good.
And I even got a little hover color now, which I didn't have, which is great. Still missing the little dot, but we can add that later.
Yeah. Love it. So that might be interesting too. So moving away from the custom properties a little bit and look at that A tag. And so we have a file called typography.
Typography. Let's see that.
So right here, we have some base styles. And so it seems like you wanted that A tag to kind of appear across the board globally, which is great. And so maybe we just take those. Do you have any other extra styles that don't appear in there? So there's just like a text decoration, none on it?
Let me see. Yeah, I can't remember. On the old?
Yeah, the old one. Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh, there is.
So, yeah.
So that's default, so it should be fine. It should just show up, hopefully.
Oh, I think it's working on all the other lanes.
Oh, yeah, because you have separate ones for your nav one. I forgot.
Yeah.
So okay, so I think you can just eliminate that entire block then.
Yeah. I'll go back. So this one goes away. Good.
Yeah. I think that the one thing that's added to that is it has a hover state. So I think it just darkens the color, I'm pretty sure, on
No, I like that.
yeah. So it just adds a little bit to that. So you have some stuff there.
Yeah, it's working with the darker primary color.
Perfect. Amazing.
What do you want to do next? Maybe tackle the nav, or
Sure, yeah.
the links to the nav have different styles. So in this case, what would be your approach? Would you
Oh
create
yeah,
a component for them?
I might actually. I mean, I'm gonna say this like again and again, like you can do whatever you want. That's the greatest thing about all of this is you do you. I would say that this might make a good component to use. And so we could just call it global nav.css. And so you need to
And what's
underscore for, yeah, there we go. Global.
and do you use
I
underscore
use
for the?
dashes, but you can use underscore if you want.
I'll keep that. This.
And then the one thing that you might want to do before you even fill in the styles is make sure you're importing it into that index.css.
Mhm.
And so under components, you're just gonna components/global nav. You got it. Perfect.
Cool.
Okay.
And what would you do in this case? Just copy the styles, or
Yeah.
maybe this is an opportunity to.
Yeah, it looks like you have a
improve the-
body nav A, a body nav. Was there something above it that you had to? Was that the UL?
Oh
No,
yeah.
you might need that too. So let's grab all of that.
Just
Okay.
custom view. I mean, even
View,
just
ARIA
splitting
current.
between multiple files probably would be helpful already. Like this just gives it a little more separation.
Yeah, now you know where things are. I was saying I'm proud of you for using ARIA current page. It's such a cool little nugget in there. I love it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when the current page gets this little dot,
So good.
subtle way of.
I love that.
Right.
So great. Yeah, I think, it seems like in this case, you don't necessarily need the body tag to scope it, unless you're using nav a few times across the site, are you? Or that nav element?
I don't know. There's one on the footer as well.
Oh, okay.
Probably for this,
I see.
but it's still, I don't know. Maybe it's the time to add a class.
Yeah.
Or maybe the footer shouldn't have a nav. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think you can. I think it would be cool. Yeah, we could just name it, yeah, like global nav, instead of body nav. Yeah.
Like this, or do you have like a naming strategy that you use?
Yeah, that's good. Global nav is fine. And then like a lot of times when I'm like building in like if it's like a child, I default to the BEM method, which is like parent, and then if it's so say like you're defining like the UL, it would be global nav underscore underscore list or items or something like that.
It's here. Oh yeah, there's still some variables we need to change. So I used to have this action color, whatever that means. Where is it? Okay, so it's used for this HR. Where is there's an HR here, and for the little dot. I guess that could be just primary color, right?
Yeah. Can be primary color. You could also use, if you want, since the link is already using the primary color, you can use the current color.
Oh,
So you could use that instead if you want to. That gets a little bit muddy if you're like not really sure what the current color is.
I think
But
that works.
it's something to use that would always keep it in line with whatever whatever the color is of those anchor links.
Yeah, it does work, and it gets the hover color as well, which is a
Yeah,
nice addition. I like that.
yeah. I love current color.
What about the HR?
Oh yeah, I can't remember. Is that we might have that in topography as well? Let's look in there.
It's yeah.
We do. Okay, let's bring over those styles and see what we need to change. Okay, so I think we have a custom property for a border specifically. And so we could make a custom property that has that in there. Let me see. We have border base, border fit. Maybe our border base is instead of solid, I think I don't remember.
Yeah, the HR is using a dotted border.
Mm-hmm.
Should that be the default?
Are you using that dot? Yeah. Let's do that.
I don't know what. Okay.
Or we can make it as like border dotted if we don't want to make sure that that's not like the base or something.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Perfect. Okay.
And then this would be. There we go. Do I need to add border now? Like I have here.
I feel like I don't remember what it looks like when if you just name it border, if it like gets like a little bit funky. It should be fine though, but I'm curious.
Let's see what happens.
Okay. Does it just look like
It worked.
Did it work? I can't really see from that. There. Yeah.
For some reason the dots look closer than they used to be. Maybe it's a like one line square, like that's the top.
Yeah, it might be weird because like I never really see that when it's a solid border. So it might be speed to if you want just top, you can just zero out the rest. So if you just do like 0, 0 at the end of that or at the beginning. Yeah. Or not.
Or not. What happened?
Shows how much I know about borders without like just really simple stuff.
I don't know now. Did I do What if this is just border?
Yeah.
It looks the same.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's the problem. Huh. Did I have a... Oh. Let's see the old styles. I'm wondering if the border was... Maybe because...
Oh, yeah, it's 2 pixels. That's probably why. Let's go back to our... So we need... I think I had border thick. Maybe we have border... maybe we can find border thick as 2 pixels instead of 4. So let's do that. Okay, and then
use that.
Yeah.
Huh. Now it really looks like it's 2 borders. I don't know if you can see.
So do 0 out the other borders or just do border top. No, why does it do that? That's so annoying. Okay.
Now I think, yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
it.
All right. Sweet.
Or does it have a small border? I'm trying to zoom in just to. It's so tiny. Yeah, it does have a light border. I don't know if you can see underneath
Yeah.
it. I
Interesting.
guess that's why I had border none.
0.
Oh yeah. And now, yeah. Okay.
Well, whatever works.
What about
Yeah,
the margin? Do you think that that should be part of HR? Should it add, or does
it
Roux?
can be if you want it to be. If you already always have margins on it, it looks like you like
Yeah, you already had some.
my. I like to do when I do styling of things, of like separating things out. I usually like to kind of lean on like the gap property and flex and have that sort of line out like my spacing of things. But if you're always like, if you're applying it in a bunch of different places where you're not sure what that is going to look like, I think that's fine to keep.
Yeah,
That's
I think I'll just keep whatever
yeah,
this
that makes
iteration
sense.
style she has.
Yep.
So I won't add that custom booking.
Well, we have 2
Okay.
minutes. What do we want to
Oh,
accomplish in 2 minutes?
Oh, I guess this was enough to see how like basics, like the rest of it would be just like putting the work, or
Yeah.
if you're like AI, maybe I could do this. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I guess the one thing that we might want to do, maybe a button, or is that too big?
I mean, yeah, I think we won't finish it, but we can look at it. This is like when I was saying like the base has like mostly like actual like HTML elements and very little classes. The button element is one that uses a class, and that is because in practice I've seen people use sort of like a buttony style for both button elements and for anchor elements across the
Yeah,
board. While
I
their
do
functions
that.
are different, like a lot of times they just end up looking the same. And so having a class where you can apply it to everyone and it zeroes out some of the styles off across the board, I think was helpful for this. So we can do that.
Yeah, this is an example of that. It's a link, but it looks like a button in practice. Just so you see, yeah, it looks like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's like a really good example of if you go into the button CSS, yeah. There's like a primary one, and so like that looks like your primary button. And so like while I think like that the button, that button class kind of zeroes out a lot of the things, and you can probably leave it as is to some degree. Maybe we adjust like the border radius and the border to match what you have, and then do a lot more of the styling in that button primary. Things like a distinguishing style.
Yeah. So one of the things that are missing are the background color, which are what did I have? I have bottom background, which probably was the primary color, lighter. So let's see what Roux has a background color, which is primary base. So in this case, I'll just change it to primary light.
Yeah.
Oh, but this one might be, where is it? Oh, for now, I'll just comment.
Oh, you have some like fancy things on like the press and the action, so we'd have to include those.
Yeah.
We are right at time, so I don't want to go too far, but this is really interesting. I think this would be a fun thing to get into, though. Maybe we need to do a follow-up stream where we do part 2 of this, because I think this gets into some really nitty-gritty stuff with element styling, and like what conflicts and like what you need to adjust and change. But this was great. I had a fun time. Did you?
I did. Yeah, I'm excited to see the second part already.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you.
Thank you for Roux and the help here.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching. Yeah. See you next time.
Bye.